Hey guys, welcome to Super Important Reviews. My name's Steve, and in this video we're going over the Neca Pacific Rim Yeager Horizon Brave. He's from the film Pacific Rim, and if you guys don't remember where this Yeager's from, don't blame you, because he's only really in the prologue where you see him on the assembly line, because he's one of the first Yeagers created, because he's a Mark 1. And also he appears on the cover of the Pacific Rim Tales of Year 1 comic book. I only decided to pick this guy because he's a new Yeager. Want to really help support the extra figure line so that they'll actually produce more of the things that I actually want. Even though I really do like this Yeager, especially how he looks pretty sweet. And also he's featured in the film, so can't really go around and purchasing this guy. Because the more we support these figures, the less reproductions of Gypsy Danger we will be getting, because my wife will not let me buy any more of those gypsies. So without further ado, for the packaging, like the packaging overall for these Pacific Rim figures, we got the open clamshell packaging on the front where you can see the figure on the inside. Looks awesome. He's also got spring-loaded projectiles, which we'll go over in a few. Bottom just tells you his name, Yeager Horizon Brave, gives you a nice concept image of the figure in the box. And you can see at the top of the packaging that his kaiju kill count is 2, which I'm not actually sure what the kaiju's name was that he killed, but I know the one was in Manila with, I believe it was, if I'm not getting this confused, it's Gypsy Danger and Eureka Striker, and the other kill was with Coyote Tango and Lucky Sevens. Nothing's on the side of the packaging here. And at the back of the packaging, get a nice image of the figure inside of the packaging. Tells you that he's a Mark 1 Yeager. No discernible logos for this guy. And some of the other figures in the line with Romeo Blue, Horizon Brave, and another Gypsy Danger. With Battle at the Docks Gypsy Danger, because we really need a Gypsy Danger with shipping containers. Which, to be honest, it's kind of cool. Really wish they just would have included this stuff in the Hong Kong Brawl Gypsy Danger version, because it would have made sense, you know? But I guess it's to keep the cost down, and without these guys, we wouldn't get the other figures in the line anyway, so it's one of them necessary evils, you know? And some legal mumbo-jumbo. So, let's get this guy opened up out of his plastic prison. Alright, so now that we open up out of his plastic prison, you might be wondering, why is he kind of disassembled here? Well, when I opened him out of the packaging, this guy literally did not have an abdominal crunch, which what I mean is, for the joint here when he's put together, he looks like this initially, and this part would not bend for the life of me, like he literally was just stagnant. And initially, I thought that maybe that just wasn't actually a joint there, but after a little bit of tinkering, found out that there's actually a joint here. He's supposed to be able to move back and forth. But I decided to tear this guy apart just to fix that joint for you guys, so you guys can see it fully articulated, because mine had one slight little problem, which what happened is this is the joint that goes on the inside of here. And what this does is this allows for him to do his abdominal crunch. But since there was paint on the inside of here, and there's actually quite a bit of access paint on the inside of here, and same with on the inside of here, and what was happening is it was causing too much friction so that it literally wouldn't move. Like when I started to try to do the articulation here, it literally just was snap, snap, snap. I was just really worried about breaking this joint, so I decided to tear it apart. And I just wanted to go over the little bit of process that I went to get to this. Is what happened is when he's fully assembled, what you're going to do is you're going to take a hair dryer to this section, which these things were actually on the side of here as well, which this is supposed to represent his tummy. There's one for both sides. So what you're going to want to do is when he's together, you're going to want to take a hair dryer and you're going to aim it in this area right here. You're going to want to take your hair dryer, heat this up as much as you can. And then what this will do is it'll soften the plastic a little bit so you could pop him off the top of here for the peg right here. And then also when you're taking your hair dryer, you want to heat these up as well, because what this will do is loosen the glue up a little bit. Especially when I was doing mine, you notice that this part got really soft and it just really started just to peel away all by itself. And then once you get that off, your next little problem is you're going to have to get this peg out from this peg hole right here. Which what this does is this will keep the articulated joint in so that it's not just going to be popping out. And it goes right through here too. So when this is all the way in, what you're going to do is, again, take your hair dryer, heat up both sides of the peg right here. And then you just take a screwdriver and you literally just push it right out of there. It's pretty easy to do once you get it heated up enough. And then once you get that out, this part pops out really easy. And then what I did was I just took a little bit of I got a little sander drill. sanded off a bit of the Axis paint, and then what I'm going to do is reassemble it, and hopefully that fixes my articulation problem. Okay, so after doing a little bit more tinkering, what I had to do is I made the hole here a little bit bigger so that these could easily go through it, because the initially the peg holes were a little bit too big for this, so I was like trying to just cram the thing in there. It was a pain in the butt, so I shrunk these down a little bit. Sorry, made this a little bit bigger. And then I actually shrunk this down a little bit right here with the grinder. As you can see, it kind of bends in a little bit more. And what this did is it actually gave this, when it was sitting here, a lot more freedom of movement. So once I got everything all situated now, push that right through. Then gotta find the sweet spot to get it to pop back in. Come on, where is that sweet spot? Oh, I feel it. Feel the sweet spot. Alright, there we go. I got the push through. Alright, so once you get it in, now he has a little bit more freedom of movement, but there's still enough of the plastic on the inside so that it can still move backwards far enough. But at least he's now got some articulation, so I can actually properly review him. And now we have him fully assembled. As you can see, the little ball is right back where it's supposed to be. And he now has articulation. Yeah. I'm actually pretty proud of myself. This is actually the first time I've ever really gone on my way to fix anything on these guys. Alright, so now that we got this guy fixed with no issues at all anymore, just want to point out to you guys that if you guys aren't very comfortable with fixing your own figures, because I mainly did this just to save me a little bit of time and not having to actually return this guy. Personally, I would recommend returning unless you're very comfortable with fixing your figures yourself. Or just get a hold of Neca personally, because I hear their customer service is actually really good and they are very helpful with fixing the figures if anything is actually wrong with them. So I personally would go with that route, but just for time constraints and I really wanted to get this review out because it's already taking too long for my liking, just decided to do it myself. Alright, so for a closer look at his details, I actually really like the head sculpt on this guy. Very reminiscent of like a security camera, which is pretty cool. Different look for a lot of these Yeagers where he just kind of looks like he's always watching. Always. And just it's a pretty cool, like I like the green paint on the inside of there, pretty unique for these guys. And then just the upper body of this guy in general is freaking ginormous, especially with how tiny, adorable this head is. It just kind of contradicts everything about this upper body, which is something that I can really appreciate. Especially with these giant turbines, which actually are missile pods, which is something that's pretty sweet. Something a little bit different, because the only other person that really utilized weapons on their shoulders would be Coyote Tango that I know of. But for him, what these missile pods do is they actually fuel his melee attack, which I can't remember the official name. I'm just going to call it the Cryo Punch. Which what he would do is you punch kaijus in the face, and when he would do that, it would freeze when he came into contact with their skin. Kind of like what you see happen with Gypsy Danger and Otachi's tail when he freezes the tail and he's like, just smashes it. Just pretty much his whole attack phase, which is pretty sweet. And then also the missile pods here, which are the cryo missiles, he would shoot them out, they would explode and freeze the kaiju. And which I think is a pretty unique and would actually been kind of sweet to see that in the film. But sadly we didn't. But these missile pods actually work for this Yeager. And what you do is right up here is the buttons that you would push down to shoot the missiles. And then when you push them down, just bam! Works pretty well. Looks, which is actually pretty surprising. Like, I kind of figured these things when I was getting them. When I go to push the button, it would just be like, and called it a day. Just kind of what I'm used to by now. But they actually work pretty well. My only real complaint is that it's actually a little bit of a pain in the butt to get these things in here. You just kind of got to rotate it until it sets into place. But once you get it in, it actually stays in there pretty snug and secure. Grab the other one. That one as well. You just kind of just got to mess around with it till you find the little niche that'll lock itself back in. This one's a little bit more of a pain because you'll notice that this little button's kind of shifted down and sticking inside. And there we go. Got the snap. So as far as gimmick, I actually really love it because it kind of makes him very unique among all the other Yeagers that we have. Because not too many of them really have gimmicks that are actually of any real actual merit. Well, this guy actually has sweet little missile pods he shoots out his shoulder, which makes him really sweet in my opinion. And then for the rest of his body, you can see he actually got a lot of armor plating on the front. A little bit of tube sticking out from his abdomen area. And on the sides here, he's got a little bit of decals here with the up arrow and the 3. And on the side of the missile pods, you get the 3-leaf clover, or I guess it's kind of like a storm cloud too. You got the little lightning bolt sticking out of the bottom. So he's like the Irish thunder. And then moving to his arms, which actually are a little bit weird, but it's more weird with the articulation, which I'll go over in a second. But it's just overall kind of a weird shape for these guys, because it's, yeah, you can already kind of see what I'm getting at. But for the details on the arm, it's pretty sweet, where you get the little armor plating here on the bend here for the elbow, a little bit of details here on the bicep, a little bit of striped paint here on the arms. And then for his hands, they actually throw me off a little bit, because you notice that they're just your standard 3 fingers. While he actually looks like he has a spot for an additional finger, but there's literally nothing going on there. But I do like that it's actually in more of a clenched pose, where he's kind of his whole gimmick is he just punches and freezes things. So really appreciate it that they actually put him in the meleeing position. Looks really nice. And then for his legs are a little bit different, which what I mean by that is that for his upper body, it's very kind of round, like especially for the arms, a lot of rounded edges. Same with the body, a lot of cylindrical shapes. But when you get down to his legs, they're just stupid boxy. Like, it's just kind of like your standard looking mech figure like you would get with some of the Gundams, or even just like from Armored Core, the Metal Gear Solid, the Rex. And for some of the extra details on here, you got a 3 right here. Not sure what the 3 represents, but it's there. Looks sweet. Then for the rest of his legs, nothing too much going on that I notice. But for his feet, they're actually pretty cool, where they have 3 toes on the front, which are actually each separated. Which this one actually, the toes are slightly shifted under, which is kind of odd. Messing around for a little bit, but nothing too much is going on. Doesn't seem like that part's actually articulated, it's just kind of the way it's been sitting. But he actually has this huge heel back here with a little bit of definition underneath, and a pig hole on the bottom if you have a little stand to put it on. And then for his backside, he actually has a backside like this. Yeager's got a little bit of back to him, which is kind of cool. Again, kind of adds to the cylindrical shape that the upper body has, while again the lower body is definitely very boxy. And then for the back of the Yeager, you get all the working mechanisms, which I really don't know what really any of this is, except I know that's a tube. Gives this guy a little bit of extra character. And up here, this is where I would imagine the thrusters are for the rocket. Like, imagine when you push the button and this guy would fire. This part would have launched out too, because that's actually literally the thruster part where it would like and go flying. But that actually probably would have made this thing stupid huge and not work. So I'm happy with the way they did it. It's just kind of like, on second thought, it's like, that's a little strange. Then for his articulation, his head can go about that far up, that far down, a little bit to the left and the right. It takes a little bit of finesse. Just kind of mess around with it so you can get it to rotate a little bit. But it does actually move around a decent amount. For his shoulders, his arm can move about that far up, that far down. Can rotate all the way around. Has a rotation at the upper part of the bicep. For his elbows, can bend about that far up, that far down, which, oh my god, it's broken. That's just one crazy bend, especially that it only really goes up about that far. It's just, did he really need that? Just like can you have him in like the positions where just the leatherback just like snaps his arm? It's actually kind of neat on a second note. Then for his rotation here, you got a rotation here at the elbow. Then for his, which puts it back up, there we go. Then for his hand, has a little bit of a swivel to it, but the plastic right here kind of gets in the way, because if you start rotating too much, you're going to pop it off the joint here. But it does have a little bit of rotation there. Has a nice bend to it. No articulation for the fingers. Then for his waist, he has actually a really nice tummy crunch, which again, didn't have it originally, and now we do. Then you can rotate all the way around. Also has a swivel here at the upper part too, but that joint's pretty well in there once I got it in, but there's actual double joints up in there, so that's pretty cool. And then for his legs, can move outwards about yay far, inwards about that far, so I can go pretty much all the way up. And if you mess around with it, I'm sure you can get that thing to go all the way around. Same with the back rear. Then he has a bend here at the knee. Actually a really nice bend. Has a little bit of a rotation, but Nothing too extravagant because the joint gets in the way there. Then for his feet, can bend a little bit up and down. Nothing too crazy. A little bit of rotation, but again, a lot of this plastic gets in the way of the movement. And for some quick comparison, here we have Horizon Brave compared next to the Neca's Godzilla 2014, Burning Godzilla, and Godzilla 1984. And here we have him next to the SH Monsters Godzilla 2000 and Kiryu. And the moment you've been waiting for, we have Horizon Brave compared next to the NECA's Pacific Rim Otachi. Which seeing this really makes me want the winged one so bad right now. And here we have him next to the other Pacific Rim Misfit characters with Tacit Ronin and Romeo Blue. And here he is with some of the more noticeable characters with Hong Kong Bro, Gypsy Danger, and Crimson Typhoon. So overall with Horizon Brave, even with the little bit of a hiccup that I had with the frozen abdomen joint, I'm not going to knock him down too much because I imagine I just got really unlucky again, and majority of the figures are going to be working perfectly fine. And for that reason, I actually recommend picking up this figure because for his details, he's actually a really awesome looking figure. Very unique among all the other Yeagers, and I love the fact that he has the missile pods that actually work. And for his articulation, also kind of unique with a lot of the other Yeagers, but it's actually pretty solid, especially when comparing them next to them. So if you guys are looking for another Yeager to add to your collection, then look no further than Horizon Brave. So what do you guys think? Have you guys picked up Horizon Brave? Have you guys read the comic Pacific Rim Tales from Year Zero, or Power Rangers just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. We'll have some closer pictures of them on Facebook if you want to click the link in the description below. Please don't be afraid to share this video around, and if you like this and want to see more stuff like this, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.